Hey guys, Metric Motorcycle Madness here. Today we're working on our 1981 Kawasaki CSR 305 or KZ 305, designated the CSR. It was designated that because basically between models, I believe it was a 250 and the 440. They wanted something with more power than the 250 to sell to consumers, but not as much price cost as the 440 was. And they were able to accomplish that by kind of dumbing down some of the options on the bike. They went with spoked rims instead of some of the higher quality aluminum rims they were using on the bikes at the time. To me, I think the bike looks far more pretty with spoked rims. I'm a person who likes spoked rims in general. But yeah, we've gotten this thing mostly apart, and this thing pretty much needs the whole 9 yards. Problem we're having with it is that the top end pretty much needs a full rebuild. However, parts for this thing are just almost impossible to find in the United States. We're probably gonna have to order parts for it out of the Netherlands. Actually, they seem to have parts over it in Europe because it was, I think, a little bit more popular over there. And you can find these bikes, around if you look, but finding parts for them, OEM parts, my God, it's just near impossible. I'd like to just replace the valves and the cylinders on this and the pistons, but it's going to be kind of hard and extremely expensive for kind of a low budget project here for my friend. So today, what I'm going to show you how to do is work on the pistons. We pulled the heads off. We pulled the covers. You can see the top ends apart there. However, we've done some cleaning on the pistons, and the right side piston was not too good. Nothing on the right side was good. The left side was all right, but there was also some issues. This is after cleaning the, I think it was the left side, if I remember correctly. Maybe not. Maybe this was the right side. I can't recall now. But that's actually almost getting there. A little bit of polishing and a little bit of polishing on this, and this one will clean up real nice. Still a little bit of carbon buildup that we're not fully going to really get off. But this was almost black on the top before. Now we accomplished this by soaking this upside down in a water bottle overnight with a solution mixed with brake cleaner and carb cleaner. And both of those have, it doesn't really matter brand per se, matters more so what is in the brake or carb cleaner. And those two are pretty powerful components in cleaning off carbon deposits. There's a number of other chemicals out there you can use, a number of other products that will probably work better. But for minor buildup, that works real good. It also gets any grease and oil off the pistons and any parts. When you're restoring pistons like this, you cannot not use anything extremely abrasive to clean the heads off of these, because this is like aircraft aluminum pretty much, and it scratches very easily. So no wire brushes whatsoever, no wire wheels. I don't even care if it's brass. Brass will scratch the shit out of this. You cannot do that. A toothbrush, plastic, rubber toothbrush will work okay for doing that. And that's what we did after soaking it overnight. We sprayed it down with some more carb cleaner and then gave it a scrub down on the brush. We're going to do that a little bit more before we go ahead and work on polishing this. We'll probably get some aluminum polishing compound and a polishing compound wheel and give this a good polish. My concern with these pistons, whether I haven't remeasured them since I've cleaned them, as to whether or not I'm even going to bother putting them back in instead of looking for a used set, because this one in particular, there's two piston rings. There's one here, and then there's two, and then there's a third ring that sits in here that is vented, because if you see the underneath, I don't know if you can see well in the light here, basically in the underneath side, as it goes around, probably impossible to see, but there's tiny little holes that seat around at the top end for gas expansion, and they pass through this bottom one here. The bottom one's probably fine, the top one's fine, but you can see visually how these stick out. They're supposed to stick out. The one below that is completely seized and crimped in there real tight, and it's the diameter of the cylinder, or excuse me, of the piston. That's no good because that's not going to provide an adequate seal as this goes up and down through the cylinder. Regardless, even this top one, it's probably been worn down so much that it's probably out of spec and it's going to provide terrible compression. So the rings on this really need to be replaced. Then comes to the second part I have concerns with this, and that's the wear on this piston in particular. You can see, and I didn't do this, this is just scratches from, obviously, I don't know, maybe rubbing up against the side of the cylinder. And if you can see this ring, this kind of polished ring in here, that's indication of some problem, that was, this piston has some extreme wear. Probably shouldn't be put back in. We'll see how far we get with this project and if we can even salvage this. But it's just a, recommendation for how to clean pistons if you get a decent piston, maybe not one like this. We'll show you the other one here. The other one was even in worse shape, and this is real good after this was completely black on the top. Hardened carbon buildup, which is still nowhere near being done. This one obviously was running real rich and had some detonation, I think. And the cleaner softened it up a bit, but not enough to get on the really hard cake stuff off. So it's probably going to have to be soaked again. The rings on this one are alright, but there's a lot of heat discoloration from this one as opposed to the other one on the sides. So you can see where stuff went wrong. Be careful when you take these out of the bike. When I take them out, I like to leave one of the snap rings in one side and then push the dowel out the other end. That end like so. So I don't lose that one. When you pull these out, you should be using snap ring pliers, but if you don't have that, you can probably do it with a small flat blade screwdriver. However, make sure you hold your, get a rag or your hand over that when you do that, because these suckers fly out like a son of a bitch. I actually lost one of these and had to find it. Shot across the room there and ended up in a cobweb on the wall and didn't see it for like an hour. So, yeah, be careful when you take the snap rings out to remove the dowel. Anyways, we're probably going to soak this overnight again or spray it down and take another toothbrush and give it a good scrubbing, because this is nowhere near ready for polishing yet. This one, however, you can see not as much of a ring around on the lower half. However, it has been overheated more, so that one again, probably out of spec. Probably shouldn't use it. But we'll take measurements and see if these are salvageable at all. Anyways, just a little bit of a tip on how to clean these. They probably make some other components that you could use, just internal engine component cleaner for scrubbing these things down. That might work a little bit better than carb or brake cleaner, but acetone products would work pretty well, which is generally what's in a lot of brake cleaner and carb cleaner, because it just dries up and eats up oil and carbon deposits. I think this brake cleaner has some methylene chloride in it. Carbon dioxide, obviously, from and perchloroethylene. I have no idea what that is. And the brake cleaner, and the carb cleaner has what does it have in it? Heptane, methanol, acetone, carbon dioxide. So in this case, the carburetor cleaner will probably work better than the brake cleaner with the methylene chloride. Not sure if it's recommended, but I mixed the two together, hopefully to get the best of both worlds. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. We'll be doing a lot more videos on this bike as we go along. And we'll show you how we took stuff off, and then obviously how to put it back together and repair a couple items as soon as we find parts. Have a good one.